Ladies and gentlemen, Primetime CP23 here, back with another video. I'm still getting over being sick, so bear with me here. I'm going to keep this as short, sweet, and to the point as I possibly can. I got a new build guide for you today. It's going to be a Demon Hunter Legacy of Nightmares build featuring the Rapid Fire skill. As you can see here for our gear, we're going to be using a Dawn and Sin Seekers with a Wajani Assaulter in the cube. The best in slot is going to be running the Assaulter in the cube and wearing a Dawn. That's also going to give you much more attack speed because the Dawn has 1.6 attacks per second on itself. I'm not sure how to word that. Whereas the Assaulter, this one rolled with 1.1 attacks per second. You do want attack speed everywhere you can get it on this build. So what my setup is using is actually using the fire support rune. Now fire support is going to fire arrows and rockets, and we'll get more into the rockets here in just a minute. So going deeper into the gear, we do have a Legacy of Nightmares setup. We're using an Elusive Ring, a Convention of Elements, and an Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac. Ideally, you're going to want to have enough cooldown that you can drop the Obsidian Ring and instead have a Unity be your final ring. And also, ideally, you're going to want your Elusive Ring in the cube and a Unity on you so that you can get the 15% additional damage to elites that you get on a Unity. Elusive Ring, you don't get that. But I had a Primal one, and I was a little short on cooldown. As you can see here, I'm only at 21%. So I needed that extra cooldown, so I took an Obsidian Ring so that I can still have permanent vengeance. That is an option. The alternative is if you can get up to about 35% CDR plus your Dawn, you can probably safely drop Obsidian Ring and still have 100% uptime on Vengeance. Next up, a couple items that are constant across all of the Legacy Nightmares builds for Rapid Fire is we are using a Mantle of Channeling and Swampland Waders. For the Fire variant, you're going to want to roll fire damage. For my particular build, I'm using physical damage, so that's what I rolled onto my Swampland Waders and to my Andariel's Visage. And on my Andariel's Visage, it would be wonderful to have physical damage. Ideally, you would have physical damage instead of plus life percent. But you take what you can get. It was the first ancient that I came across. Gloves are a pretty open spot for my exact setup. If you are rocking the fire variant, Mage Fist is required. For chest, I'm using an Aquila Cuirass. The benefit to running this setup instead of the fire variant is instead of having to wear your Visage of Goons, you get to put Visage of Goons in the cube, throw the Andariel's Visage on, get that little extra physical damage, and you get to wear your Aquila Cuirass. Then we've got a Hellfire Amulet and Lakuni Prowlers. Lakuni Prowlers are cool because they do let you roll attack speed and crit hit chance on, so it's really good to have that extra attack speed. Ideally, you would have whatever elemental damage you want on it: dexterity, vitality, attack speed, and crit hit chance. For belt, if you're using the fire variant, you gotta roll with Hellcat Waistguard. I'm rolling with physical damage, no grenades in my setup, so we're running a Witching Hour instead for additional attack speed, additional crit hit damage. Our final piece of gear is Illusory. For our stats, I don't know the exact breakpoints, just to be honest with you, but I know that we've got a crap load of attack speed. We're sitting at plus 48% attack speed. We have attack speed increase on our Sin Seekers, Lakuni Prowlers, our Helm, and our Belt. Ideally, you could probably get it in on one or two of your rings, maybe even your Amulet. And you could probably fit it in on gloves, just depending on what kind of gloves you're rocking. Plus, we have a one-handed crossbow, which is inherently going to have pretty fast attack speed. Crit hit damage, or crit hit chance, we're at 51.5%, plus 315% critical hit damage. We could probably use a little bit extra crit hit damage. For legendary gems, we're going to be using Bane of the Stricken, Bane of the Trapped, and probably a Pain Enhancer for the extra attack speed. You're attacking so freaking fast that it's insane. Plus, the faster you attack, quicker you build up those Assaulter stacks. Taeguk is not going to work with this build because we're not constantly spending resource on channeled skill. Zaystone of Vengeance, for this particular build, we're just too close to enemies too much of the time, as you'll see in these gameplays. So Zaystone is just not going to be optimal. So Pain Enhancer is probably going to be best in slot for the extra attack speed. Moving on to our skills, we're going to, as I said, we're going to be using Rapid Fire with the Fire Support rune. This is going to launch homing rockets when using Rapid Fire. Then we've got Guardian Turret. Guardian Turret is going to give you 25% damage reduction when you're standing in the shield. Fan of Knives with the Bladed Armor rune to give you another little buff in toughness. So you're pretty tough. Next up, as I said, we are using Vengeance with the Seethe rune. This helps you get back that channeling cost from Mantle of Channeling, so you can get your Aquila Cuirass toughness buff back up instantly. And with Visage of Goons in the Cube, we do get the Darkheart rune on Vengeance for free. I'm using Wolf Companion. Alternatively, you could use Boar Companion for a little extra life regen. And finally, Vault with the Tumble rune. If you're going the fire route, probably go Trail of Cinders, because it's going to be cheaper to use. It's going to cost you less discipline with your Cinder Coat. For passives, we're going to be using Ballistics to increase the damage of our rockets, and to give us a 20% chance to fire extra rockets. Ambush, we're going to deal additional damage to enemies above 75% health. Perfectionist, to reduce our discipline costs and increase our toughness. Single Out, to give us some extra crit hit chance. Alternatively, you could probably swap in something like Sharpshooter that would give you a little extra crit hit chance all the time, or maybe even drop Perfectionist and Single Out for Thrill the Hunt and Cold the Weak for a lot of additional attack, for a lot of additional damage. And we do have Awareness on our Hellfire Amulet. For Paragon, we're going to be dumping everything into movement speed and then dexterity. I would say go attack speed, cooldown reduction, crit hit chance, crit hit damage, resist all, life, armor, life regen, area damage, life per hit, and resource cost reduction. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little different than most builds. I don't know for sure that I'm crazy about this build. Demon Hunter is my favorite class, but I think this is going to be so hard to put together, and it's not terribly straightforward to play. It's a little more complicated style of just playing Impale. And I'm not sure that it's going to be enough stronger than Impale to entice me personally to play this build in the coming season. Plus, this is the only season that this build is going to be viable because of the Season of Nightmares bonus. So we'll see how this build ends up fitting in. But until then, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. If you didn't enjoy the content and you want to leave a dislike, that's great. Just leave me a comment. Tell me how I can improve, how I can make this channel better, and let's all grow together. Let's get some positivity in the Diablo community. And until next time, it's Primetime CP23, and I'm out.